Okay, Catherine.
Hello.
How are you?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
It's been interesting. Interesting. You know, when you're teaching students, or you teaching students at your school, I think the types of questions and what's actually asked tend to lead me to believe what you know or what you don't know more than just the question. What I have been exposed to this week is a lot of questions are being sent to me earlier that are not Blackboard questions, but are in fact task stream questions. So we're going to try to cover some of those. I've tried to answer them as best as I possibly can. But as I sent the email out earlier today, after talking with Dr. Lamb, he's going to come on board next Thursday at 7, and he will act as your clinical coach. Some of you, needless to say, haven't had a good response. Some of you have had an excellent response. And I want him to help level the playing field, if that's possible. So, do expect that to happen next week. Let's talk about week 8 and what some of you have put up as far as creating that short 3 to 6 minute narrative video. Or something to that effect. One did a video, 2 or 3 did a PowerPoint, stuff like that. And they were actually good. But I need for you to try to press on and get that project completed. You remember early on I said the coursework that has been assigned is important, but it doesn't have to be done week to week to week. I realize what I just said and what I'm saying now are somewhat of a contradiction. I just don't want you to forget some of that stuff that you're supposed to be doing. The main focus, and let's see who raised this flag. Was the one is the one that's in the group already the one who was at the soccer match yesterday? Or not yesterday. I was looking at some video and somebody ran in and asked him a soccer question. Was that nobody in here?
Graham was at a soccer game and came out for the video and went back.
Yeah, that was it. I just thought that was a hoot when I was looking at that Zoom session. But a question was asked specifically about the 12 competencies, or not competencies, let's use the right language. Get my notes back out. Not doors. I'll get to it. Anyway, were they supposed to be up by the 12th week? Excellent question, and that answer is true. And here's why they've said the 12 during the 12 weeks. They do not want you to throw up all 15 on the last week of the semester. Because if you threw all that stuff up in the last class, it would create a major problem for people to look at it, to evaluate it, and if it needed to be sent back, it just delays the process. So that's why the theory is the 12 during the 12th week. Now, also during this past 2 weeks, I think 2 or 3 of you have sent me maybe parts 1 and 2 or 3 of your APSL. I made some comments, and one of those comments is in general that I'm going to talk to the whole group about tonight. But your work, those parts in there, you've covered everything. Now, let's not get confused with doing your work in those different parts. You know, we sometimes get these 2 words confused between the evidence and you've heard about artifacts. The general difference is the evidence is your written work. I did this. Here's how I did it. Here's what I did. Your artifact is the supporting document showing what you said you did that you actually did. In English, that means if you had a PLC meeting, obviously you would have a supporting agenda and minutes of the meeting. Some people take it to the next level where there might be a video or stuff like that. Do you remember that quick reference guide that I sent out to you? Check your head up and down. It is on the far right of that column. Those would be the artifacts that support what you have written about. So the evidence is the written word. The artifact is the supporting data. I mean, I want you to understand that. Now, these are the types of things that your clinical coach should be talking to you about. Now, for those people who have a proactive clinical coach, I'm hoping you sent your work and they've looked at it either by an email or something else, and they bounced it back with some comments, and then you've sort of taken those suggestions. If not, here's where the next process will start taking place. Somewhere along the next 4 weeks, give or take, I'm learning. See, I'm having to talk about a subject that's on the other side of the wall. I can't see over the wall. I can't go around the wall. I can't dig under the wall. I know it's there, but I can only talk about it. That's why Dr. Lamb's going to come back and clean up our words next Thursday. When you go to TaskStream, and I think yours may say Mel's Spring of 601, and you upload your work. Has anybody messed with that yet? Or seen, okay. Chris, you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. What you're going to end up doing is putting your work in that spot. Now, here's where you need to pay close attention. I need you to collect, you're going to select from a group of different people who you want to review your work. You need to click on my name, and I hope it's there, and your clinical coach. So both of us will review it. Now, the next question should be, well, how will I know, how will I know that there has been something uploaded to TaskStream for me to review and make comments? TaskStream is the only platform that we have that when you upload something and you click on me and your clinical coach, it will send us an email. So my cell phone goes off and it says, you know, you got some work to look at in TaskStream. But unless, right now I went with Dr. Lamb's help, I went over to TaskStream today and I don't have a Mails 2017. I won't get that application till one of you puts some work up for me to actually see. So be sure to start doing that. Hopefully you're in at least maybe the part 1 or part 2 or something like that. But you need to be moving in that direction. Now,
I have a question.
Oh, let me finish where I am. Hold up.
Okay.
I want to make sure you understand this process from this point forward. So you put it up for comments. Your clinical coach and I separately will make comments, and then we'll send it back to you. Looks good. If I was grading, I would give it at least a 3 or a 4, and then you can take that, or you can tweak it a little if you want. Or if I say you need to do this, 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 and this, you can take that as a suggestion and see what your clinical coach says. We do get to see each other's comments. Now, make sure you understand that. So, the only thing that I've seen from your work that you sent to me by putting it in those drop boxes on Blackboard, the only thing that I thought was needs a little tweaking, and we'll finish out tonight talking about your doing stuff with your references and reference page. Now, let me stop. Who had the question?
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
So when we do upload for you all to comment, are we uploading the individual task, or are we combining all the 5 tasks together then upload?
Just one. We do.
Okay.
I think it's, again, Danielle, I'm talking about something on the other side of the wall that I've not seen. I think you're going to upload all 5 separately.
Okay.
Chris, you're behind the wall. Is that true?
I talked with my coach today, Dr. Whitaker, and she said not to put anything in TaskStream until the completed APSL, and just to submit that we didn't submit task to task.
Okay. Hold it right there. That's my first question for tomorrow morning. I don't like to call him after 7 or 8 o'clock. You know, he's old. He's liable to be asleep. Awesome. Okay. So Dr. Whitaker said, and I'm not naming names, I'll just say no parts, just the completed 5-piece.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, okay, what I will do, everybody heard the question. So tomorrow after I talk to him, I'll send the email answer out to all of you. It'd be a whole lot easier for you to put up the section, and then combine them. But if Dr. Whitaker says you put it all up at once, I mean, we'll see what he says. I'm talking.
And she also suggested the final be put up before the end of week 12, or by week 12, which is 2 weeks.
Yeah. Now, Kim, here's typical. Sometimes some of these people are known to tell what I refer to as a not so. And what that means in English is that's not necessarily so. The 12-week is a guesstimated turnaround time because several things have to happen. Number one, so let's suppose you put it up all as one document.
Mhm.
You got your reference page at the very bottom, and there's some serious issues to work on. This gives the evaluators the time to evaluate it and make major decisions about the quality of your work. I don't get to evaluate. I can only make comments about each section. So, again, what you were told was you put the whole thing up by the 12th week, the 13th. Now, they sort of set that date in place. Let's suppose you were graduating in May. They want to have enough time to get their part done to make sure you have your work reviewed through licensure, or better yet, through the registrar's office to issue a clear movement to go across the stage.
Okay.
It's still critical. They have a new component for those who've actually looked at the handbook. If you don't finish on time, you go into not necessarily time out, but there's a recuperative period where you have to involve yourself with to catch up, if that's what it is. There shouldn't be an E or incomplete or an F. They've sort of changed it quite a bit for those people. And y'all were the first group in the males 2017 spring class that they've made these major changes to see if this can get people through on time. Okay, so no parts, just the completed stuff. And you said everything should be up by the 12th week. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. All right.
I've got a question too.
Go ahead, William.
When we do merge all the tasks together into one final document, so we're to have one reference page at the end, would that also be the same for an appendix, one appendix?
One appendix, and you know, I noticed some of you were doing little reference pages at the end of each section. That's
Right.
a great way to do that, but to take out those little mini references and put them all on one separate reference page, that is also covered in the Mail's Handbook. But you're right on point. One appendix at the front and one reference page on the back end. That is correct. Now, one of you had submitted a paper. You know, sometimes we write in a scholarly paper, but when you throw out a comment like Albert Einstein had gray hair. Now, I'm sure we all saw that. Or he was poor in math, or whatever his problem was. Or whenever you quote something that you've heard, George Washington didn't chop down the cherry tree or whatever, you've got to tell where you got that statement from. Just like when you're talking about your school and your community, you've got to tell where you got the data from your school, which would be the school report card or the TWC. Or if you talk about your community, there's a website for each county and or city that talks about the demographics, the mean of income, these people, number of people, whatever. So when you start writing stuff that you just didn't came into the earth with your own knowledge, you have to tell the reader where you got it. So that was one of the only things that I saw about your writing, and I'm reading what you're reading, but you have to give credit where credit is due. Now, the only suggestion I would make in that situation is, if it's not critical to your paper, you're sort of like Robert Frost at the fork of the woods and on a snowy morn. You either can just take it out if it doesn't affect your paper, or you can spend 10, 20 hours trying to find a citation. You have to make that decision, okay? If it's not that critical to your paper, the easiest thing to do is just remove it. I'm not advocating either one, but some of those things, when you talk about your school has so many free and reduced, your school has so many children per grade level, the ethnicities, your scores and stuff like that, you've got to give credit where you got that data from, and we all know that was one of those 2 documents. Now, everybody, Nadeja, I don't know about you. You're on a different world. I'm on a world. I just can go. But even a charter or a private school, they should have some data, don't you, DeWald? You do. Okay, so y'all have a school report card and a teacher working condition survey?
Yeah, we have everything that district schools have like that.
Yeah, okay. So just make sure when you start putting that kind of stuff down, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, this is just 601. When you start looking at, I think the OMA gets even heavier when you're starting to look at things going on specific to your school. You're going to need to tell where you're getting that data from. But that was a good question. Back to you, William. Yeah. One appendix, and you do understand you write your reference page last, and then after you have your pages all calculated, then you go back up and you write your appendix, table of contents, whatever you want to call it. You're going to do that last because you don't know how many pages you're going to end up with, do you? No. Okay.
Sorry, Dr. Brown. What week are we on? Are we on week 10?
Well, I'm thinking we're sort of week 9-ish, give or take. I'm not really, I'm just looking at what you haven't done, where you should be, and then what's coming up next. But the critical part would be, number one, I need to find out, you don't load up so if you load up the whole document, do you put it up for review? Dr. Whitaker is your clinical coach. So she's saying that you put it up in its total form by the 12th week. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say anything, and I'm just looking at your faces. And in fact, you might even want to call this a rhetorical question. Since I haven't seen a lot of work, I don't know that you have. If this is week 8 or week 9, I'm not sure where you are exactly to put up your whole stuff. But that'll be where I'll start tomorrow morning out with Dr. Lamb. Should they upload each section? Let me go back to Chris. Chris, have you uploaded anything?
Yeah, I've uploaded each section. What I've been doing is, as I upload to the discussion boards, you give feedback. We get peer review feedback from our peer review groups. There's a shell in 697. Dr. Lamb is my clinical coach. Okay. So every time I upload a discussion boards, get feedback, change it up, I throw it to him for his feedback. He gives me good feedback on each of those. Task 1 by itself, task 2 by itself, task 3, task 4. He reads those, and his comments are always upload to task stream. When I upload to task stream, what I do is I don't submit it. I just request comments on it, each piece at a time. The thing is, though, I actually Zoomed with him about 2 or 3 nights ago because I had some questions, and he gave me some specific people to ask. Because when you say request comments, like 15 to 20 people pop up that you got to check boxes by.
Oh, no. Did he stop you from doing that anymore?
Well, yeah, he told me who specifically to.
There you go.
He told me to select you, him. He gives me feedback within 24 hours. Dr. Neal, and he gave me one other one. The problem is you and Dr. Neal are not in my criteria. I can't choose you.
Oh, that's not good.
So I chose him and like the first 3 people.
Oh.
I hear back from him within 12 hours all the time. He gives me specific feedback, and then he let me know once you submit it, that's when you put it into one comprehensive document.
Now, Kim, you realize we 180 degrees from what you've been told.
I do.
Not only do we have opposite ends of the spectrum, but I'm having to deal with something that's on the other side of the wall, and it's about to drive me crazy. I think I told him today, Dr. Lamb, I don't have enough yard to mow, so I can work out my aggression riding around in the yard. I may start mowing neighbors' yards. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is tell him, Kim, I'll tell him what you were told, and I'm going to remind Chris, and now you telling me I don't have a button on Mel's spring.
No, there was probably about 15 to 20 names to select from. You just check the box of who you want to review it. I obviously picked him. He's my clinical coach, and I just went with the first 3 people. And to me, that makes more sense because they're giving you feedback before you put it into one comprehensive document.
That was mine.
That's logical.
It is logical.
Yeah.
You take care of each section, and then when everything looks good, you put it up for an evaluation. When you and Dr. Lamb feel you're at the right point.
Yes.
I mean, oh Lord, back to you, Kim? Let me write. No mail spot on 601.
And I think
Hold on, spring of 2017. That's something else. He told me last night that I was. Well, that's not true based on what Chris is saying.
When I Zoomed with him the other night, I Zoomed to him so he could see my screen.
Okay.
And from his what's it called, task stream portfolio, he was able to pull up who I should have. And he saw you. He saw Dr. Neal. But from my perspective, you guys are not on there.
Well, that's not good. Okay. Well, did you ever send me some stuff to look at over on Blackboard for me to make comments?
I've put them on discussion board, and you've commented on those.
Okay. That's not good. The process, Kim, I hadn't forgotten you. The process is you were to get feedback from the course instructor and your clinical coach, and when everything was good, it would be moved over into one document over onto TaskStream for the final piece. I don't know who's telling what, but I'll get to the bottom of that, and you'll get an email tomorrow.
Like where I'm at right now on TaskStream, it's nothing that can't be undone, he said. I mean, it's in a place where it can be commented on, edited. It's not submitted yet.
Okay. Now, y'all do need to understand if something happens, how do I put this? If something happens and you lock up TaskStream, Dr. Lamb does have the black bag to go into TaskStream with a code and can undo everything. So don't worry about putting something up and this happening and that happening. He can always go back in and undo what happened. There are some situations where you may try to do something. I think it's either the second or the third time you'll lock it up because they'll think you're trying to encrypt or do something illegal onto Blackboard. No, TaskStream, and it will lock you out. But he can fix that. Good point. But I'll need to find out about the individual section. And he told me this morning that I was one of those where you'd click on the dot. Maybe he went back behind you. What day did you last talk to him or Zoom?
We Zoomed Tuesday night. It was at 8 o'clock Tuesday night.
Okay, so if you talk to him on Tuesday, and I got to him this morning about 9.
I'm going to go in now and see if...
Okay. Well, that would be excellent if you can, and see if my name is... Because if it's there for you in males of 17, it'll be there for everybody.
Dr. Bond, and your name's not in this. Like Chris says, there's Dr. Bingham and Dr. Palermo, and there's about 18 people in there, but I didn't see your name in there either.
Now, see, here's what's happened. I'm just a course instructor. Bingham, Palermo, Lamb, and all these other people, they're clinical coaches. So they've automatically been loaded up. And
yeah.
I'm not sure, but this one needs to be fixed fairly soon.
It's like DeWalt said, if I go down the left column, it's Steve Bingham, Dale Lamb, Jim Palermo, Kathy Rivas, Karen Summer, David Walker, Joe Bullis. There's no Bowen. There's no Neil. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 18 people are in there.
And during this semester, at the beginning, Dr. Neil was a clinical coach, but that was his. Okay, so that's 2 issues I need to make sure we can clean up. Okay, so I'll get to him in the morning, and then I will pop out an email, hopefully before noon. Good point. Because we got different, one saying this way, one saying this way. and I hate to say it this way, but if I have to put my eggs in somebody's basket, it's going to be in Dr. Lamb's. Okay, let me just say it out loud. It will be with what he tells me to do. Okay.
So, Doctor, in Blackboard, I know we uploaded to the discussion board. How do we inform you or get your feedback from it?
On your task 1 and 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Okay. On the far left of wall, all the way at the very bottom where you have been putting your work, take a second and scroll all the way down, and I believe I put APSL 601 Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. Have y'all seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is it? So this is. Sorry, I'm a little. Is this under the? This is under the discussion board, right?
No.
It's on the grading center on the far left.
It's on assignments.
Yeah,
There you go. Thank you. Who said that? You were actually correct. Under assignments at the very bottom. I think that's one of the last things that I added, the assignments for the 5 parts.
Okay, yes. Okay, I see it.
Now, here's what's going to take place, DeWalt. You put your stuff in that pocket, and you'll notice it has a 0 value. And here's why. Everybody's not required to do that. But I will put a 0 in there. I will read the document, and in that rectangle below it, I will tell you what I see and what I would hope you might want to reconsider to improve it. Okay? I'm just throwing you out a free one. That's all.
All right. Okay.
And I've done this a lot with students where I would look at their work by email, and then when it came time to put it up into TaskStream, because when you put your work up onto TaskStream, everybody gets to see it and they see the comments. And some people can be real critical. They can be downright obnoxious. They can say things without thinking about what's coming out of their mouth or their fingers. And I don't think that's appropriate, because not only does the student see it, but everyone else sees it who has access to your work. So that's why I do something up front, behind the scenes. Nobody can see what you're sending me, and nobody can see my responses back to you except the 2 of them.
Okay.
And if you need to resubmit it, I'll go back in and put Part 1A, Part 1B. So we can do this 2 or 3 times before you roll it over to TaskStream.
Okay.
Okay? Have no
Thank you.
problem with that. Absolutely. Great question. Okay, what else? So, make sure let's talk about the references. Let's see. You asked, were we in week 10? I'm leaning toward it could be 8, 9, but probably 9. But that work is not in front of the wagon. The work in front of the wagon are these competencies and these 5 sections under the APSL. That's what you need to be pushing with first. And then if you have your little time, think about doing some of that stuff. Now, I can't say this professionally. I can't say this legally. Maybe I should even say it morally. Your grade is not going to be a front burner issue. Let me take off my glasses and go wink, wink, wink. Did you get, I just recorded that too. Did you get that message? The competencies, and next would be the 5 parts to your APSL will basically be what's driving this whole experience for you. So you're thinking, okay, I can do those 12 parts. I can then do my APSL in those 5 parts. They let my course instructor know that you crossed over in those 2 arenas, and then you can expect an A. I hope you can watch the video 2 or 3 times if you need to see that again. 12 parts. I mean, the stuff y'all been doing, and how I love it when you do those peer reviews of the Zoom conferences and your work. Everybody's not getting a 4. Let me just tell you that out loud. Some of you getting 3, but when you get something that's a 3, or if you ever got a 2, in the comment section, you're telling them what you think they need to work on to move it back to a 4. And that's excellent. That's what I'm looking for, is what I see in the document and how you rate it. And then number 2, what do you offer for a suggestion for improvement? That was the whole purpose for all that peer review stuff. And you've done well with it. So, what else you got? Good point.
I've got a question about the competencies.
Go ahead, William.
Each competency that we upload is also supposed to have a summary with it. Do we type that in like a Word document and upload it as well, or do we put that on the little notation section that is under the upload?
Go ahead and put it in that little section. Type it up as a Word document and load it up. And basically what you're going to say is the candidate achieved this by way of doing this, 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 and this. And that's it.
Okay.
It's all about the candidate did this, the candidate did that, and you're going to tell briefly in that box as you write it as a PDF and then upload it what you did to achieve that goal. Okay, good question. All right, so we talked about your competencies. That was a bummer. That bothers me. I may even wake him up and call him tonight. And then we talked about the reference page, and I thought that you do all parts of the APSL, have a little a mini reference page, then you'd put all of it together. Start off with an appendix. You can number your pages at the very last, and then you'd have a reference page where you had moved all those pages and merged them onto that one document. Maybe I'm backwards thinking on this one, but you'll hear one way or the other tomorrow. Do we go with what one of you were told or what Dr. Lamb's thinking? I would read, first of all, I don't have a dot on the page. That was a shock. And number 2, I would think it'd be easier for everybody involved to put up 1, look at it. Put up 2, look at it. 3, look at it. And then if the clinical coach and the course instructor think it looks good, you've met the rubric, the criteria is all there, then you upload the whole thing. And then at some point, the evaluator gets to it. Makes sense. Now, like Dr. Lamp, Chris, what time of the day or what days of the week have you been talking to him?
He does an occasional one like every other Sunday, but I had a question on Tuesday morning. I emailed him before work started, and him and I got together that night on Zoom. It was just him and I, because I just had some questions, and he answered them for me.
Okay. Why don't we set this up? We're in the discussion phase as to how. Now, I will tell you this. The handbook is currently being rewritten about every other day. And I'm not, I'm not going to lie to you. I may tell you too much of the truth. But the handbook they've used more pencils and eraser tips than I can imagine. And not only is it the handbook that you're operating from within, but it's the handbook that's for those people operating in 602 and 603. Those people, they started out with an old handbook, they reinvented a new handbook, and they're they don't know what to do. My theory was if you start with one, no matter how bad or whatever it is you think you need to change, improve, or whatever, you need to stick with it and get them through all 5 semesters and not add the wings to the plane after we've taken off. And in education, a lot of times that's what we do.
Absolutely.
We're going to try this, and then, oops, we left this part out, or we left this part out. It's not supposed to work that way. But anyway, that's just another horse I have to kick every now and then. Okay. It's only 7:30, 7:40. I think I'll go ahead and wake him up, tell him what I have uncovered, and then ask him to send me an email. But I'm sorry, I jumped over, like Chris has been doing. If you want to Zoom with me, let's pick a night, say Tuesday. And Graham, DeWalt came up with this one. Send me an email, say by Sunday or Monday, and pick a time. I'll start at 6, and I can go through 8, 9, 10 o'clock. So I can only do so many at a time, but when I get through with the first one, I'll send the email out to you, the second one, and then when I finish that one, I'll send an email out to the third one. And we can ask, that was a good point, DeWald. Instead of you writing down your questions or thoughts, let's just talk about them, and we'll pick Tuesday night as our, what do y'all call it, think, pair, and share? You elementary heads, isn't that what they call that?
That's it.
I'd rather do that instead of ask 3 before you come to me. Isn't that another phrase they use?
Yeah.
Y'all heard that one, haven't you?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, I spent too many times in the elementary school. Too much time. All right, what else? Keep doing. Now, everybody knows where to load your work up under assignments. So for those who want me to look at it, and we will do that on the sly. I've already told Dr. Lamb, he suggested putting that Dropbox versus using an email. But now keep in mind, if I read something and it looks good and I like the way, and I've talked about you've done this, when you do put it over to TaskStream and I get my button on the computer, there won't be a lot of changes. There won't be a shakeup in front of everybody. It'll be about the same. I might be a little more, you got 2 people looking at your work. Dr. Lamb doesn't say a lot. If it's what he wants to see, he'll say, go ahead and submit for an evaluation. I'm going to tell you, when it's that way, and he will say, submit for. Now, as we get closer to the 13th or 14th week, you will see him go, submit for an evaluation now. And that means the clock's ticking, your work's fine. What are you waiting on to get it up? Because the evaluator, and this is where it can get ugly, they may see something we didn't see, and they want to send it back, but not just send it back with no comments. They want to tell you what you should do to tweak it a little to make it better. Okay? Okay. Let me know as soon as you and when you send me the email and you say I'd like 6 o'clock, and I will send it back. Somebody's already at 6. You want to do 5 or 7, then I'll sort of do that. But Sunday or Monday at the latest, and I'm going to go ahead and block off Tuesday night for one-on-one Zoom like he's doing. Okay? If I don't hear from you, then that means there are 2 ways I can only tell. If I don't hear from you, or if I see your work being put up and you're doing the assignments like you're supposed to be doing, I know you're moving right along and don't have any questions. That fair enough?
Fair.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I appreciate that because
Okay. We'll throw in another one. And I cannot be your clinical coach because I'm having to go through a third person to get over that wall to tell me, well, what does that look like? What do I need to do? And he swore to me this morning that I should have a dot there for you to click on. Well, I may have to hurt his feelings. And I don't even know who works on TaskStream. You may have heard the name Dr. Shellman, who was a big individual with Gardner Webb, and he was always the TaskStream guru. I'd go to Dr. Shellman. I send him an email tonight. Said, I don't appear to be on Mel's 2017 for the spring. He'll click, 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 click. He said, you're there now. I don't know who's doing TaskStream. It's just another world, and I'm having to go through 2 or 3 different people to get the right answer and to get it done. Now, last question. I know we got spring break coming up, and I have done this in the past, so I'm not going off the reservation. It looks like spring break is during the week of April the 10th. Now, there's no need of having our spring break unless it benefits the majority, if not all, of the class. Are most of you out of school that week or the week after? The 10th or the 17th?
We're the 10th.
I don't have a spring break.
Okay. How about the rest of you? 10th or the 17th?
17.
17.
Okay, now.
The 10th.
Okay, we got a 10th. Guilford County.
I'm actually off both.
You're all actually what?
I've got both.
What a school system you in. 2 weeks in each.
Right now, 2 weeks.
A week and a half, yeah.
Wow.
For Forsyth County is the 10th.
Okay.
Your Hanover's the 10th.
Well, if my old friend was still superintendent, I'd call him up and ask him to make an exception. But the Don has since left Forsyth County. Anyway, will they just stay with the 10th then? A lot of times, if you're going to be out that week, I don't want to have class. But the benefit of it is, since we're doing this synchronicity, we can record it and you can watch the video when you get back from your vacation. Yeah. Okay. Unless I hear different, I'll be looking for some emails Sunday or Monday. Tell me what time Tuesday, and I will send you and only you the link to get on board and let's have a conversation. I will call Dr. Lamb. I will get the truth. And then I'm going to send you an email, hopefully either tonight or tomorrow. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Yes, sir.
And yes, I did hit. Okay. I'll talk to y'all next Thursday, unless I speak to some of you Tuesday night. Okay. Bye now.
Good night.
Bye-bye.